And we are back with Factorio. Here we go. I am Pax. Today we are starting a new playthrough. Speedrun, maybe you might call it. Playing Pyanadon. So in this video I want to just go over the mods, talk about the mods that I'm using. And of course the main mod is the full Pi suite, so this includes all of these alien life, alternative energy, coal processing, fusion energy, high tech, industry, petroleum handling, raw ores. So this is the full mod pack of Pyanadons. This is arguably the most complicated mods out there for Factorio, mod overhaul. So just adds so much stuff to the game. Hundreds and hundreds of hours of gameplay required to complete the game. We'll see how far we get. Probably not gonna... It's gonna be a long time before we actually complete the game. But right now we're just going to try to kind of do a speed run through at least the simple circuits and hopefully beyond. And I just want to say shout out to Simon Plays, who mapped out sort of the speedrun idea, and I was following along on his YouTube channel and he inspired a lot of the builds, so check him out if you're interested. But then let me go over the mods that I'm using. Just want to add a couple of mods to make it a little less tedious and, you know, more fun. I mean, we just want to have fun here, but also just play through the game kind of fast and effectively. So here we have Are You Afraid of the Dark? This is just, especially since, you know, I'm trying to do these recordings, just adding more light to the game so it's not completely pitch black, and that's pretty useful. Then we have auto deconstruct. This just removes some mining drills when they're out of ores. Automatic underground pipe connectors. This one's so good. Oh man, this mod is amazing. Just all it does is when you put a pipe like one unit away from another pipe, or next to an underground pipe, I mean, next to a port in a building, it will just put the regular pipe there and connect them, or like connect a corner. It's so useful. It makes it so much easier. Okay, then we got bottleneck. This is just little green lights telling you if your factory is running. Bulk rail loader again. Later on when we get to trains, I like using these alternative train interfaces, and well, we'll see that one of the primary challenges of early game Pyanadon is dealing with these very limited inserters, and when we get to trains, I don't want to just be stuck having train stations that can only unload and load so fast, so I'm going to be using these bulk rail loaders most likely. But trains are so far away, so we won't touch that at all anytime soon. And then yes, the companion drones. This is just another mod where you get a couple little robots that survive the crash landing with you, and they're basically like your very early construction bots. They help a lot with building and with chopping down trees. So I don't want to like spend so much time just running around chopping down trees and clearing out landscape, and you know, if I want to move some things, like have to rebuild and pick everything up. I don't want all these tedious things to be a part of this playthrough, so we're gonna have the companion drones with us. Then we have mostly this is for the loaders, so Deadlock's loaders. Use them in the space exploration playthrough. Loaders are really useful. They're really powerful. They're almost arguably cheating for Pyanadon, but I again like don't want to have so many limitations with the inserters, but I also don't want to like completely remove the inserter challenge, so I'm going to try to I want to use the loaders especially for interfacing with trains and interfacing with also the transport drones, which I'll talk about in a second. But then for most of the infrastructure, I'll still try to stick to inserters and such, at least until we like get much later in the game. The stacking belt boxes, I'm not sure I'll use, but that's kind of interesting where you can get higher throughput on your belts if you kind of stack the items. It's a kind of cool mechanic, but we'll see if we use it. Even distribution, this is also pretty useful just for inventory management. So you can just have a couple of shortcuts to help you ditch stuff from your inventory, or kind of gives you also trash slots in the early game, and you can just help you get rid of stuff more quickly and deal with your inventory long before you get logistic spots. It just makes it a little bit easier there. These are just basic things. Yeah, when we get to trains, hopefully we'll still use the ghost scanner. And then we have Hellmod. So Hellmod is also the factory planning tool, and especially for a game like Pyanadon, you really need a factory planning tool. There's so many feedback loops, and the pipelines are just so complicated that I honestly spend like more time looking through Hellmod just thinking about how to build factories, and just a lot of the challenge of Pyanadon is just trying to figure out what to do and how to do it. And so you spend a lot of time just planning out builds and looking through the recipes and the recipe chains to just understand like what's going on. And so yeah, factory planning tool is huge. This is just like a little thing for your blueprints to add landfill underneath all the objects. Yes, and then later on in the game when we get to trains, if we ever get there, probably want to use logistic train network again. I think some of the techniques we developed in the space exploration playthrough were pretty interesting, and I want to continue with some of those ideas in the Pyanadon mod. Max rate calculator is pretty useful, just a quick shortcut to figure out how much throughput certain buildings need. So if you want to do some calculations, very useful. Milestones is really nice. This just keeps track of your progress, and when you achieve certain milestones, then you'll get notified and it sort of tells you. So kind of cool just to know, like, you know, how long have you played when you build your first electronic circuits or something like that. So kind of nice. Module inserter, gosh, yeah. This was useful in space exploration. There's a lot of modules, but this is really useful when you have bots, and bots are extremely far away, so we'll see if that even comes into play. Power grid comb, this is just like make your power poles a little bit nicer, but nothing too big. Also have the quality of life research, so if we ever get to a point where we have extra science, then maybe we'll invest in some quality of life research. Why not have it? Then we got squeak through. So squeak through, you know, just lets you walk over pipes and squeak through buildings. It's pretty useful, pretty nice. It's kind of annoying trying to dodge all the pipes sometimes, so it's a pretty good one to have. Yes, and then one big one we have are the transport drones. So this is like an whole extra logistics mechanic where you can create these road networks and create these provider and requester stations onto the road network, and you get these little trucks that drive around and bring the logistics items. And so basically I decided to add this because a lot of the game is just, especially in the beginning, so much belt spaghetti that your base looks just silly and crazy, and I thought that like having these transport drones would just be nice to make it a little bit nicer and, you know, have a little bit of a road network, and just they're kind of fun, so I just wanted to play with them. But then we also added this extra mod, steam transport drones. So this allows you to, this changes the recipes and the technology ingredients and all that kind of stuff so that the transport drones are available very early in the game. So then, you know, in Pyanadon, getting petroleum gas is like, I don't know, dozens and dozens of hours into the game but Steam is very early, and so this makes the transport drones cheaper and makes them run on Steam and makes the technology earlier, so that way we can just have access to them pretty early on, and very early in the game I just want to use these transport drones, because once we get to trains, I mean, I'm probably going to stop using them and just focus on trains. But so like there's no point in having it if they're not unlocked until trains are unlocked. So I have this mod, yeah, just to make them come earlier. Another big one is the stone water well. So again, just to minimize the belt and pipe spaghetti nightmare that is the beginning of the game, instead of, you know, dragging a water pipe all over the base, we'll just have this building that you can put down and just get water pretty much anywhere. And I think it's pretty fair because the building is a pretty big building, and you know, so you have to like kind of account for that in your infrastructure. But then what's also good about it is it's easily added to blueprints, it's easy to copy. So this is, I think, a very fair way to just reduce the water logistics and reduce the pipe spaghetti. And then, yeah, the Blueprint Designer Lab is just a bit of a sandbox world that you can access to just try to toy around with some designs. It's sort of just like creative mode that you can access within game. Probably not going to come into play. And then we have what's it really used for. So I usually use FNEI, but I was going to try, I heard this one was better, but I haven't really used it too much. So we're going to also try that in case we need it. But again, most of the playthrough will be pre-planned and trying to, you know, hell mod and what's it really used for are going to be things that are going on really in the background. But then, yeah, so this video is just to kind of talk about and go over the mods, and we'll start the playthrough coming up in the next video. But I'll see you there. See you then. There you go, Factorio. High impacts. See you in the next video.